All right, Shaniqua.
All right, Shalisa.
I get to record something? That gets my goat.
All right, everybody, welcome. This is Big Anklevich.
And this is Rich Outfield. And this episode has been a long time in coming.
Yeah, it's been brewing up in there for a while. But it's finally ready to come out.
You know what we... Oh, that's gross. What we should start the episode with is Hulk Hogan saying, "What's that smell?"
It's Dookie.
I actually heard that as part of somebody else's podcast. And yeah, they didn't have to say what movie it was from or anything. I just knew because you used to quote it so much.
The funny thing is, I don't know what movie it is. Is it No Holds Barred?
No Holds Barred. Yeah, good job.
I don't know that I know any other Hulk Hogan movie titles, so...
So what about Suburban Commando?
Nope, didn't know that one.
Okay, so this is That Gets My Goat, and shoot, I don't know how to start this. People have mentioned, and I'm trying to remember, is it in the forums or back before there was a forum and it was just comments? Is it the things that I say on the show or my writing? It's the things I say on the show, right? They say
I think it's probably a combination of the two. Or maybe you just brought the writing into it, because the writing is connected, really.
Well, sure. Okay, they said that, a subject that seems to rear its ugly head over and over again is poo. It's poop.
The scatological bent that you have.
And yeah, I'm trying to remember. Somebody in one of the comments says, "Boy, guys, enough with the scatological humor." And I don't know if I had ever heard that term before, scatological humor.
The first time I ever heard that term was when I was I read the Escape Pod
submission
guidelines, and they said they didn't want stuff that was particularly scatological. I'm just like, what the hell is that?
Those assholes are fine with the Kidge Johnson stories, but not with the... anyhow, did I just call Escape Pod people assholes? I didn't mean it.
Yeah, you might have to edit that out.
Yeah, like the step below assholes, like douches. A-hole is still just short for asshole.
A-hole's the primetime safe way of saying.
What a bunch of a-holes. So I guess it has come up a bunch of times. I mean, you've mentioned on the show a lot of times that I wrote a story called Space Shit. That was
good story too.
Well, I appreciate you saying that.
I really like it.
But yeah, there at one point a mountain of living crap engulfs a guy, and
what's wrong with that? Oh,
I guess that's what we're getting at here. Is there something wrong with that?
You've written that. You've written. Oh, you know where the scatological thing came from? I think was the extra episode that we gave to people, which
Home Runs was the very first one.
Home Runs, right, which was about someone with the runs. But you've also done the Minnesota diarrhea ghost.
I have, but that was just meant to amuse you. It wasn't a real story.
Yeah, but you published it on freaking Amazon.
Because you told me to.
You've written a story that you called Brown Prom.
The Brown Prom, and it was
never shared with me.
My junior prom, all of us in our group got diarrhea in the middle of the junior prom, and so I thought I would write a story about that, where a guy, finally got to go out with the girl of his dreams. His ship had finally come in, and then he's beset with crippling diarrhea.
But his ship was full of diarrhea.
It was a plague ship of sorts.
And I think there's been one or two others.
Yes, I'm sure there have. And I don't know. I didn't feel like that's the whole point to those stories. I mean, the Brown Prom, I guess, is about that. Space Shit is about an alien invasion in the form of dung. But I guess it is still that sort of thing. And yeah, all of those stories would have been rejected by Escape Pod. But I guess the question that arises is, do I have an unhealthy fixation with that stuff?
Well, you got to tell the rest of the story.
The part with my friend?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I lived in LA, my best friend Matthew, rail thin guy, like one of those guys that just no fat on him at all. And he didn't like to go out to eat or to eat in any way. I found out. We were together. We were on a road trip, and he didn't want to stop. And I was just like, why? And he says, I don't enjoy eating. If I could change something about being a human being, it would be to never have to eat again. And that really surprised me because I find eating pleasurable. I also like to go places with you, and we talk while we're eating. It's a social thing. But even if I'm by myself, going to a place and eating something that tastes good, it fills my stomach. It gives me energy, but it's pleasurable.
Does your friend have like problems with his sense of taste? Can he not taste things?
Maybe that's what it is.
I can see if you couldn't taste anything, that eating would be a complete drudgery. But that's the only way that I could see that being the case.
Anyhow, I've mentioned to you on a couple of occasions, and I was talking to my friend Jeff, that going to the bathroom is like that for me. If I could trade one thing about being alive, it would be never having to poop again. I hate it. And I know that there are people who's just like, oh, yes, the best time of the day. You've heard it all the time. It's like they close the door and he's like, oh, I'm going to be in here for an hour, kind of thing. And I've asked you, just point blank, is that a pleasurable experience for you? Because me, I'm in and out of the bathroom immediately. Like if I could be in and out in one breath, I would be. It's just like I don't settle down and do my taxes in there or do the crossroads or crosswords and read the paper. It's just like I'm in there to do my business, and then I want to get out of there because I hate it. And I was telling Jeff this, and finally I guess he was just like, enough is enough. What you're describing is not normal. And I said, what are you talking about? And he says, you have some kind of psychosis when it comes to feces. It's like you've got a phobia of it, or you've got an unhealthy fixation on it. I mean, it's like nobody else treats it the way that you do. I'm getting to the point where I think that you're mentally ill. And anyway, that really, really upset me. But I was just like, whoa. And maybe, you need somebody to tell you the unpleasant truths of life. But to me, like, crap is the worst thing imaginable. It's like there's nothing worse than that. And I remember in Delirious, Eddie Murphy's concert film, he's like, oh, I loved ice cream as a little boy. I loved it more than anything else in the world. He's like, my ice cream cone could fall in a pile of shit, and I'd still eat it and lick the cone and go, what? It's only shit? And to me, that was so hilarious because it's like, it's only shit. It's the worst thing on the face of the earth. But to him, it's like, it's only that. But anyway, I just started worrying because of what Jeff said, about me having a psychosis and so I think I talked to you about it and I was like, do other people think that there are worse things than that? Or anyway, you talk for a minute.
So we decided to dedicate a whole episode today to poop. Because, why not? Everybody.
That's why the Why Not shirts exist, folks.
That's right.
It was leading up to this day.
I just decided to surround myself with more people that said why not instead of those that said why. I said, we're going to dedicate a whole episode to poop. And they say, why? Get out of my life.
What is it when they say anytime somebody says you eat too much pudding or whatever, you need to stop being friends with them? You don't need that kind of negativity in your life.
I don't need that negativity. Someone tells me not to talk about poop.
But yeah, okay, so do I have an unhealthy fixation with it? You have read several stories. You haven't read Brown Prom, but you've read 3 or 4 at least that have that in common. And if sexual intercourse came up as often as feces in my writing, would you say that I had an unhealthy fixation on sex?
There's nothing unhealthy about sex, so no. The thing about feces, about poopy, is that, I don't know, it has a history of being really bad. For one, it's pretty gross. I mean, when you suggested we do this episode, I mentioned that when I wipe, I usually get like the largest wad of toilet paper possible because I do not want that on my hands. I don't want it on my fingers. It's the worst to get that on your fingers, and I've plugged hundreds of toilets because of that problem. Because the wad is way too big and it
Hundreds
can't
of
even.
toilets,
I'm
guys.
serious. Hundreds. It's a serious issue with me. I learned really well how to plunge a toilet because of that problem, that fixation on my part. But yeah, I mean, feces it's something that causes disease. I mean, it's gross. It smells bad. You don't want to touch it. You know.
Well, yeah, there's no bright side to poop.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
It's only shit is not a legitimate saying because, yeah, there is no upside. And I mean, I guess you could say, yeah, you can wash it off. Only shit, because, I mean, eating it, that's completely different. You can't just eat your ice cream and say, what, it's only shit. But getting it on your hands, I mean, I shouldn't be as worried about it as I am.
Well, okay, I mean,
Because washing your hands you can do.
we both had children. I mean, mine were my sister's kids, but I lived with them. And I changed that kid's diapers over and over, way more than his father ever did. And you'd get it on your hands sometimes when you're wiping and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't freaky or anything like that. You're just like, oh, you know, when
wash my
I'm
hands.
done, I will wash my hands. And it seems to me that if Jeff were right and I had a mental illness about this, that would not be acceptable. It'd
Yeah,
be
that
like,
would send
I'm
you
sorry, I've got to
over the
just
edge.
drop the kid and go wash my hands the way that, you know, somebody OCD or had a phobia about something could. But to me, I was just like, I was pretty normal. If it gets on my hands, I get it on my hands. It's a big deal. I've had to like mop it up. I've had to clean, you know, diarrhea off the carpet and stuff like that, which is no fun. But that's what comes
Well,
with
if-
having infants,
If
right?
you would stop shitting the bed, then you wouldn't have to do this so much.
That's a load coming from you, sir. Because today you told me that of the two of us in the bed, in the bed,
The two of us in the bed together doing
Sorry.
wait, what?
the two of us in
Tell
the
you
car.
anything about that?
I have not had that happen. But what was it? Where your son and tell me if I am out of line in telling this, but I guess he reverted briefly after he had been potty trained to not doing that.
Yeah, that was
And
frustrating.
you were really upset because it was, as far as you saw, just laziness.
Yeah.
Where he's like, he needs to go to the bathroom, but he doesn't care. He's playing or he's watching TV, so he just goes in his pants. And it's not until everybody goes, oh, geez, that that he realizes he did something wrong. And I made things absolutely worse because I told him, hey, you know, I'm a 40-year-old man and I shit my pants all the time.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
so
that.
that was your response. You're just like, yeah, that was not helpful. That's my wife is right about you is basically what I remember you saying. But yes, anyway, I wondered about that kind of thing. You know, like pit toilets, going in the woods, that sort of stuff. There's nothing worse. That scene in Schindler's List, guys.
Yeah, just anything. I used to freak out about using those like at camps or something like that, just because of the idea of like falling in
Yes,
that
it's now.
and just being covered up above your all the way under. Yeah, just I can't even make a cohesive sentence.
No, there are horrible ways to die, and that is one of them. There's unless both of us are mentally ill, I think there's nobody on earth that wouldn't say, "Oh yeah, that's a way I don't want to go." Holy cow! Yes, you know.
Drowning in urine and shit.
He's like taken by a serial killer and skinned. That I can live with. Falling in a pit toilet and drowning, no.
Yeah. I think it's time to end the episode because I'm feeling ill now.
Oh well, that I guess was my my intent with it. Okay, guys, I'll come clean. It's April Fool's Day. We wouldn't really do an episode about. We wouldn't talk for 20 minutes about dung.
But not on the air anyways. I can't believe that you would think that we would. I mean, you had to assume that this was a joke, right? Because We would never do something like that. That's
in bad taste, and it would be a waste of your time and ours, and we wouldn't do that. You are our fans, so yes, the joke is over. You guys can go on your merry way.
yeah. We're this is a classy show, so we're not going to do something like that. You know, we won't sink that low.
Think of how many fans we would have lost if we did an episode where we talked about stuff.
Yeah, seriously.
If we had done an episode where you admitted, or I admitted for you, that you had shit the bed.
Yeah, that would have been bad. It's a good thing that that's not real. That nobody has ever done that.
I've never
in their
written
life.
a story called Space Shit ever. I never wrote a sequel to it called Space Shit: The Next Generation. It's just it was all just in fun for April Fool's Day, and I think we can all agree that April Fool's Day is a wonderful thing, and we're glad that it exists.
That's right.
I have been Rish Outfield.
And I've been Big Anglovich. We hope you've enjoyed this
Non-episode.
That Gets My Goat is produced under a Creative Commons Attribution, No Derivatives license. That means you can copy it, share it, and make paper dolls out of it, but you can't sell it or use it in your little voodoo rituals. I'm talking to you, sir.
Oh,
Let me tell you of the days of the Doomspeak Audio Fiction Magazine. And now behold, your hosts, the dread Big Anglovich and the infamous Rish Outfield.